Përshëndetje dhe mirë se erdhët në program. Një nga zhvillimet dramatike botërore është lufta në Gaza dhe zhvillimet në lindjen e mesme sjellin vazhdimisht turbulenca globale. Të fundit filluan më 7 tetor të vitit 2023 kur Hamasi sulmoi Izraelin në një nga festivalet atje dhe nga ky sulm apo dhe zhvillimet më pas rreth 1300 vet mbetën të vdekur dhe rreth 240 vet të tjerë u morën peng. Më pas vijoi përgjigjja izraelite, si rrjedhoi sot, sipas njoftimeve të agjencive të shumta, njoftohet se 25.000 vet janë vrarë dhe më shumë se 1.9 milion njerëz janë të zhvendosur. Situata sigurisht vazhdon të jetë e komplikuar, ku prospekti për paqe nuk duket të jetë i afërt. Por sot në emision kemi një intervistë të rrallë dhe është e ftuar ambasadorja rezidente e Izraelit që mbulon Maqedoninë e Veriut dhe ajo është zonja Simona Frankel. Madam Ambassador, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you for inviting me.
This topic is a global topic that we're going to talk today, and it's a rather attracts usually the opinion even here in our country. But first of all, I just said in the intro that you are non-resident ambassador. Let's explain to the public what does it mean.
It means that we don't have an embassy situated in Skopje, but I am a full-fledged ambassador and I come from time to time to Skopje, to the country, to maintain the very good relationships that are between both countries.
So basically, even that you are not based in Skopje every day, you follow everything what's going on in our country.
Yeah, daily, following it daily. And I hope I'm quite well informed with what's going on.
Of course, the opinion wants to hear a lot. What's your take on what's going on in Israel and in Gaza right now? We're going to start with the interview, but we will have to make a very short break and we will come back with these questions. Një shkëputje dhe rikthehemi me njëherë. Simona Frankel, ambasadorja rezidente Izraelit është në studio. Madam Ambassador, thanks again for being part of this program. I'm going to start this interview with one question that probably we also discussed, but even when I read the news these last days, is that the opinion is that there is a shift in the way how Israel is viewed today with what's going on in Gaza. Do you agree with this? Maybe after attacks in October, there were, let's say, sentiments towards Israel, what was going on. And right now, there is a sentiment that Israel is quite, how should I put it, quite put in the spotlight with what's going on with humanitarian situation there and everything else. Do you agree with this?
I don't know, and I'm not sure that this is the way we view it. What happened on the 7th of October was a sadistic, barbaric attack on Israel. The Hamas terrorists killed civilians, killed babies in front of their parents, killed parents in front of their children, raped young men and women, burned people alive. Really something that we couldn't imagine that can happen. You know, I came here now this weekend for this week to commemorate the 27th of January, which is the Liberation Day of Auschwitz. And when we commemorate it each year, we say never again. And we thought it will happen never again. But unfortunately, what happened on the 7th of October reminds us how much it is important that we have now an army that can protect the Israeli civilians. And sometimes we have the impression that some parts of the world, I don't know, I won't say everyone, like us weak, like us being a victim, and when we are a bit stronger and when we show that we can protect our people, They like us less.
Okay, we can discuss all this, but I think that what happened in 7 October, everybody condemned it, and that's I mean, everybody in the same. I mean, in the news outlets and the international community and international organizations and the governments. But after 7th October, now we are a couple of months after that event. I'm not saying that what you just said maybe it's not right, but right now Israel is under attack because a lot of international organizations, again, like UN or other, which are credible organizations, are criticizing Israel how they are dealing with the situation.
Because we cannot stop the army before we overthrow Hamas from ruling in Gaza. We cannot stop before we stop the demilitarization of Gaza, and we have to come to a solution where the people that are living, the Israeli civilians that are living alongside the border with Gaza, can go back to their homes, rebuild their houses that were burned, and live there peacefully. We cannot stop before this is the situation, because if we stop now, and if we listen to those who are calling for an immediate ceasefire, we are making sure that what happened on the 7th of October will be repeated very soon.
Yeah, when I opened the program, I also mentioned the victim on one side, and then now they are also the victim in other side. So can you justify the numbers of killing right now, which are a lot, you know, in the Palestinian side, and most of them are children. And when you see the pictures, and these are pictures taken from UN agencies, it's also terrifying what's going on there.
It's terrifying, and I'm very sorry for every Palestinian civilian who is being hurt. That's not our aim, that's not our goal. We don't consider the Palestinians as enemy. We are targeting only the Hamas terrorists. The problem is that Gaza is a very dense populated area. And when an army is acting in a dense populated area, you have casualties also of innocent people, especially when Hamas is using them as human shields. Hamas, before we started the war, you know, it has been about 3 weeks from the 7th of October until we start the ground operation in Gaza. One of the reasons was to alert the innocent civilians and to let them organize themselves and move to the south of the Gaza Strip, where we promise that there will be a shelter area where they can...
Yes, but 25,000 people have died, and this is, I'm quoting, this is our international agencies and news outlets that they are saying this, and most of them are children.
I'm very sorry for that, and I'm really sorry, but when you are using children as a human shield, you know, all the tunnels that Hamas built were under beneath schools. They use kindergarten as storage for arms and ammunition. And I'm sorry, the one who have to take care for the well-being of the Gaza civilians was Hamas. And unfortunately, they didn't do so, and they took all the humanitarian assistance, all the measures in order to build tunnels instead of taking care for the well-being of the population.
I really do not want to be a devil's advocate, but how do you explain then the high criticism that it's going towards Israel with what's going on with humanitarian situation? There was no food, there was no water, and then we also saw doctors crying because there was no electricity in the hospitals, and that's devastating to see.
Unfortunately, we don't see the same claims, the same critics coming towards Hamas. No one is blaming Hamas for what they do. When they are blaming Israel, when they are saying that there are casualties, and even when people reported about the 7th of October, they were talking about terrorists, they were talking about attacks without mentioning that it was Hamas that has done it. So I think that most of those people that are criticizing Israel should reflect again and reconsider what they are saying and come to Israel and see also what happens in the northern front of Israel, where 60,000 people had to leave their home because they are attacked daily by the Hezbollah. And I didn't hear anyone mentioning Iran, which is behind those attacks. They are using their proxies, their militias in Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, in order to destabilize the Middle East, and no one is blaming them.
But again, I'm making the question because I try to understand how your government is approaching the issues, and one of the things is that the UN agency is saying this. And when I was preparing this program, and I wanted to be correct with everyone, and then that's why I decided to only play what UN is saying. And UN is a credible organization, and they are really criticizing how everything is dealt from the humanitarian aspects.
So credible that for more than 100 days, no one in the UN mentioned the rapes of women and men done by Hamas. No one in the UN came and saw and make a criticism about what happened to the Israeli children that were tortured and burned in front of their parents, and parents that were burned and killed before of their children, children that were mutilated, children that are taken hostages by Hamas in the tunnels under the hospitals in the Gaza Strip. No one is mentioning it.
There was a worldwide condemnation what happened.
One day, and that's it.
Well, it wasn't one day. Myself, I did a program. A lot of serious news outlets, they did a program about it. They condemned it, and that was wrong. But now we're dealing with situation right now, and the criticism is about today and what's going on right now.
What do you expect us to do? To stop now, to have a ceasefire, to go back, to withdraw the army, and to wait for Hamas to rehabilitate the situation in the Gaza Strip in order to repeat what they did on the 7th of October, and they claim it every day. They are they step up. The representative of Hamas in Qatar are. Even yesterday, Khaled Mashal said that what they want is to destroy the state of Israel. So if we let us doing it, well, you will condemn it, but the Israel will be destroyed. No, we cannot afford it. The government of Israel has one duty, to protect its citizens, and the only way to do it is by overthrow Hamas from ruling in the Gaza Strip.
But let me ask you another question in this aspect. How do you feel when you see the UN agencies actually asking for humanitarian donation for everything what's going on right now in Israel? You described Israel as a powerful country, and on the other hand, we have a situation when the world is actually trying to help these people who are there.
Every day, there are more than 300 trucks going into Gaza every day with humanitarian supply and humanitarian aid. The problem is that Hamas is taking care of those trucks and don't give it to the population, but take it to under for the tunnel as a supply for the terrorists. This is the tragic situation, and I tell you, it's a tragic situation, and my heart goes with the Palestinians, civilians in the Gaza Strip, because I think that if Hamas will be overthrown from the Gaza Strip, it will be not only for the well-being of the Israeli citizens who are living alongside the border, but also for the Palestinian population living in Gaza.
But nevertheless, when you see these children, when you see the pictures that we see today, do you think that the media portrays a different view of what's going on there?
Unfortunately, I think that the media is one-sided. Even
the world media?
Yeah, the world media. Yeah.
So why is that then? Well, the media wasn't one-sided when we were reporting on Hamas attacks.
Yeah, because that was facts. But now they are reporting what they want to show, what is well filmed on television, because, you know, that's the Palestinians are considered as the underdog in this fight, but they are not filming the terrorists of Hamas. They didn't film the terrorists of Hamas. They don't go in the tunnels beneath the hospitals to see what's going on. And I didn't hear the public media calling for the release of 132 hostages that are still being held by Hamas. Among them, babies, people over 80 years old.
In every media outlet that I read, it's always there. This is going on right now, and then this happens because it was this attack, and then during that attack, that happened. In every background story that is mentioned, Madam
Ambassador. But the hostages are still there. It's not that they were taken on the 7th of October, and the next day they were released. They are still there without medical treatment, without medication. We don't know what's their condition is because they don't let the Red Cross to come and visit them. We know that there are babies. We know that there are people that are sick. We know that there are people that were mutilated during the 7th of October attack, and we don't know what their situation is.
But as a government, do you know what the ordinary Palestinians want?
No, I don't. I think that they want to live in peaceful situation, as we do. And I hope very much that that will be the end of this story, that after Hamas will be destroyed, we can live in peaceful situation, and they can live in a peaceful situation.
But when we talk about this, of course, the situation will get again complicated. But the politics will be involved. And then, not long ago, we read that the Israeli government is not really looking forward to give some power to Palestinians right now, either with Hamas, either with Palestinian authorities. So, how is this going to be resolved, according to you?
It's strange that you listen to what you want, you hear what you want.
No, I'm just reading what was reported all these days.
I will tell you, what we are saying, and we are repeating, that we don't want to occupy the Gaza Strip, and we don't want to control the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. So it depends very much at the end of this war, because if we come to a situation that we know that Hamas doesn't exist anymore in the Gaza Strip, they don't have any way to rule there, and they don't have any weapons and no military capabilities, at the same time we can discuss everything. But this is not the situation yet. And when we come to this situation, we can discuss everything.
Okay. I would like also to ask about the possible political prospects. And when we discuss the shift of opinion that it exists, at least this is what I'm noticing right now, maybe I'm wrong. Do you think that ordinary Israelis also feeling this, that now the world is kind of not in their side right now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So how does it make you feel, and why do you think that happens? Is it all world against you? That's not possible, yeah?
No, I won't say that all the world is against us, but it makes us very sad. It makes us very sad because sometimes, yes, we don't feel that the world is against us, but we feel that some of the countries are either indifferent or consider the Palestinians as the underdog in this situation, and they don't see our side because Israel is considered a democratic, flourishing country, and they expect us to be able to overgo everything. Yes, this will be the situation. We will overgo it, and we are strong enough to rebuild the communities that were destroyed, and we hope very much that the people of Israel, the people that were living there, can go back to their houses and live peacefully. Unfortunately, with the Palestinians is not the same situation because they are taking hostages by terrorist groups. And when they are taking hostages by terrorist groups, the one that should be blamed are the terrorist group and not Israel for this situation.
I'm really going to ask you about what are the prospects for the future. Me, myself, I was in Israel in May and I saw myself a lot of situation there. But in order to conclude the image, let's say, of Israel right now in the world, which is not good, and I quote the international organization, the media outlets, I also quote governments. My question is there a fear maybe in Israel at the government or the people that the support that probably was very strong from Israel's allies like US or EU or some other countries is going to fade after this?
No,
what's going on?
I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, since 7th of October, there were more than 80 Minister of Foreign Affairs, Prime Minister, presidents that came and visit Israel in order to support us, in order to show solidarity. We expect also people from North Macedonia to come, either the president, the prime minister, or the minister of foreign affairs, and they will be very welcome. We expect them to come and visit and to show their solidarity with the state of Israel.
But how do you explain then the hundreds of thousands of people protesting? In the capitals, in the major cities of the world, of the countries that are allied to Israel.
Most of them are not aware of the facts, because there was a poll, someone going with a microphone, asking them all kinds of questions, what they think about factual questions, and they were so ignorant that it was really embarrassing.
Yes, but when you say this argument, then, don't you think that you also see the things from one side? I mean, the humanitarian aspects of the crisis is there, and every day is in the media, and it's reported, and it's terrible what happened. You said it yourself, it's terrible what happened.
Yeah, it's terrible, and I repeat it, it's terrible, and I'm very sorry. There is no one more than the Israelis that live in Israel that wants to live in a peaceful area without being attacked every day, without having militias, Iranian militias on their border that are getting weapons from Iran, and Iran is the one to blame for this instability in the region. On the other hand, Iranian leaders are welcomed in very prestigious arena. They are welcomed in different international organizations as a very normal democratic country, which is not the case, and no one is blaming them for what's going on in the area.
Well, I don't want to argue with that, but I don't think that's the case. And the only focus for Israel right now is a humanitarian situation. And we must admit that Gaza is only 41 kilometers, and it has one of the most dense populations in the world, and it makes it complicated for people there to live in this condition.
I agree that it's complicated to live in the Gaza Strip under the rule of Hamas. It's very complicated, yes.
But also
true.
During the
it's
war
very
right
danger.
now.
It's very dangerous to live under Hamas terrorist ruling, and I hope we will bring an end to it.
Okay, we will make a short break, and I want to discuss with you in the second part of the program what's the possible solution? Is there a possible solution? And then to focus as well on the relations between North Macedonia and Israel. Okay. After the break. Rikthehemi me një herë pas shkëputjes me këtë intervistë të veçantë dhe interesante. Na ndiqni. Simona Frankel, ambasadorja ajo rezidente e Izraelit, është në studio në një intervistë direkte dhe të veçantë për një nga zhvillimet më dramatike të botës që po ndodh për momentin. Madam Ambassador, I will ask you directly, what is the view of Israel for the prospect of peace? Is there a possibility to have a peace in the region?
I very much hope so, because if I wouldn't be optimistic, what kind of future I can promise to my children and to my grandchildren? I think it's very important that we will see the situation as it is, that the world, the public opinion will recognize the situation that most of the Palestinian populations is ruled by terrorist organizations, that most of the instability in the region is because of Iran supplies their militias and their proxies with weapons in order to get this instability. Look what's going on in the Red Sea with the Houthis from Yemen attacking ships that are on their way to Europe, to North America, to the Mediterranean with supply. Why they attack them? Why they do so?
Let me focus on a political aspect for the moment. The Prime Minister Netanyahu, it's not giving up in that idea for being a peace, because either one-state solution, two-state solution, the solutions that are on the table are not for the moment acceptable for Israel government. So how is that going to be achieved? Would you recognize a Palestinian state?
I think that you need a partner in order to negotiate everything. The Hamas is not a partner, and we agree on it, I hope. And we have to see how this war ends. And I hope very much that Hamas will not be in the picture anymore when this war ends. I hope very much that all the hostages will be released as soon as possible, if it's possible now. And after this will happen, we can discuss everything. I think it's too early to discuss it because we don't know yet the facts on the ground. And we cannot discuss it all the time that Hamas is still trying to rule. I hope it's not the case anymore, but at least they are trying to keep on ruling the Gaza Strip.
Probably you should have a prospect. So if the two-state solution is mentioned and that's not acceptable, then what does it create from the other side? It also creates rejection.
But it's too early. Why they don't reject the terrorists that are ruling them? Why they don't reject the Hamas? Why they don't reject why they don't reject Iran? Why they reject Israel, which is not ruling there anymore? We are not, Israel stepped out from the Gaza Strip in 2005. Since then, 20 years almost passed, and I didn't see that the Hamas took care of the well-being of the population there. Why?
I mean, this is, okay, one way of viewing the situation, and I don't want to argue with that, but I just want to put the conversation in the future. If there is no prospect of recognizing Palestinian state, then probably you give the other side arguments not to continue to see peace or not to continue to have hope for the future.
And do you think the solution is by encouraging terrorist organizations and encouraging Iran to keep on supplying them with armaments?
Yeah, but you asking me the question, I should ask you the question. My point is that if you have a government which is probably in Israel problematic, let's say, in what sense? You have government ministers like Minister of Finance or Defense who have how should I put it, more aggressive view towards Palestinians with their vocabulary. And then how do you suggest that the other side will also trust you in the way you voice how, I mean, not you, but some parts of the government are viewing the Palestinians?
The government of Israel was elected in a democratic way. I wish that election would take place also between the Palestinians in order to see whom they want to represent them. You know, when were the last elections in the Palestinian territories or in Gaza Strip? 2007, and then they elected at the Gaza Strip, not at the Palestinian territories.
In the Gaza Strip.
In the Gaza Strip, the last elections were in 2007 when they elected Hamas as a terrorist group. So what do you want from us? Yeah, they were the one that elected them. They were the one that chose to be ruled by terrorist organization. Israel was not there since 2007. It's
But
2005,
I was reading
sorry.
not long ago than today that Prime Minister Netanyahu was saying that he also would reject Palestinian to be ruled by Palestinian, Gaza to be ruled by Palestinian authorities. So how do you continue then after you have such a rigid stand about the future?
I will repeat what I've said before. I think that we should wait and see how this war ends. I hope it will be very soon, so less people will suffer. As you know, it is a war that was imposed on us. On October 6th, there was no war in Gaza. It is a war that was imposed on us. We have to see how this war ends. I hope very much that it will end as soon as possible without Hamas ruling in Gaza and with no military capabilities of Hamas, so we can discuss everything. Before that, it's too soon to discuss it.
I mean, if I ask questions, you probably will repeat the same, but in the end, there are initiatives for peace talks. And of course, there are other different views of how the solution can be. So, do you think that it's early to start the peace talks? Would you wait with sides? Because I'm sure the diplomatic circles are communicating with both sides.
Yes, we can discuss with the United States. We can discuss with the European community. We can discuss with everything, with everyone. But if we cannot discuss with the Palestinians because they are ruled by a terrorist organization, so we are playing one-sided. I mean,
you make me repeat again the question. But yes, Prime Minister Netanyahu also said that even the Palestinian authorities are not.
And I will repeat again my reply.
We're gonna repeat the question.
That we have to wait for the end of this war in order to discuss everything. I'm sure. Let me say very clearly. I'm sure that if the war ends with the dismantle of Hamas, everything that will be put on the table can be discussed. I don't say it will be agreed, but it can be discussed.
Yes. So there is one prospect. So basically, we may say that the state of Israel somehow is ready to discuss some of the solution. But what if the war continues in a way that we have seen that it has been problematic from humanitarian aspects? So we heard Antonio Guterres, the UN General Secretary, for actions. We also have calls that Israel probably should be tried for war crimes. I mean, we had this kind of statements. We also hear that Israel should be banned from sport activities, from musical activities, or even Eurovision. So
it's very sad to hear it. It's very sad for me to hear it, because when Israel is banned for that, when there are calls to ban Israel, not
calls, there are calls. But this warning, don't you think that
I didn't hear calls to ban Iran, for instance, to participate in those kind of activities, cultural, social activities, UN organization and other organizations. On the contrary, I see that Iran leaders are welcomed in different prestigious places, which is astonishing.
But right now the war is going on in Gaza, and the problem is the way it is dealt with the humanitarian situation.
But
this is why it's discussed. Isn't that enough for you to think that maybe something or maybe a different approach should be taken to help the people more, the children?
The different approach that should be taken is to ban Iran from sending weapons to their proxies around the world.
Don't you say this to your allies, international allies?
Of course we say it. Because, there is a double standard sometimes when you come to judge Israel, and you rather take one side and turning your eyes from the other side. And
so basically you're saying that even international allies of Israel, sometimes they have a double standard towards Israel.
Yeah.
And why would that be the reason?
I don't know. Maybe you should answer this question.
I don't know that as well. I'm asking you because you are here, and in the view of the world, right now Israel is in a delicate situation, again, with the humanitarian aspect.
I agree that we are in a delicate situation, but I'm sure we will overcome it because this is the kind of the spirit of the Jewish people to overcome different tragic times. So
in the last minutes of our program, I will ask you, how do you think that or how do you see the North Macedonia reacted towards the crisis? There were some votes in the UN Council. Here, people agreed, and for some parts, they didn't agree the way the Macedonian politician reacted. So, how do you see the relations between two countries in this aspect?
I think that the relations between Israel and North Macedonia are very good. They are very friendly. I come here and I'm welcomed everywhere. I get very good treatment. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Israel was here for the OSCE
Yes.
conference about 2 months ago, and he was very well welcomed. The hospitality was great. Sometimes there are disagreements between friendly countries, but I know that the North Macedonian government supports us completely. We saw it, we hear it. I get a lot of messages in this regard, and I'm thankful for the North Macedonian government.
When we talk about this relation, of course, people matter, and of course, Skopje, it has been, and the issues with the Jews in the past, it has been quite in a political loop, let's say, because of the EU integration and how in Bulgaria was seen this issue. But since you are in Albanian television, mostly Albanian television, I also want to mention that these relations are also important when you put it in a human aspect, and I would like to ask for my colleagues to show some pictures of an Albanian from Skopje that helped Jews during the World War II to actually not being killed. And this is a letter that I see it from a book. It's written by Skënder Asani and Albert Ramaj, and that they show this kind of communication. So when you put the relation between the people, don't you think that sometimes politics can make a damage?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that politicians are elected by the people. So, at least in democratic countries.
Yes, there are some also other pictures that I would like to show.
Yes,
yes,
I want to reaffirm again that Albanians people always help the Jewish community. There were always very good relations with the Albanian community, with the Macedonian community, with the people of North Macedonia. We don't differ between the different communities. We look at North Macedonia as one country, very united, and
But this is a very specific thing, because not very much it is mentioned that an Albanian community member of this country also helped the Jewish community. And actually, this photo that is here, it tells that how a member an Israeli citizen came to visit and to thank you to the family that helped them.
It's very important to be thankful for what this person did during the war. And I think it's important because when you are seeing what people that turn their eyes and don't look into the misery of other people, where it can bring us, and I'm talking about the Holocaust, so it's important that there are brave people that help other people and save them during difficult and tragic times.
I want to show just another picture because it's taken from the major museum in Israel. I had the possibility to visit, and also there is a mentioning of how important it is that Albanians were probably the only people who helped Jews in the Second World War at the time.
It's very good what the Albanian people did, of course, and I know that the Jewish community in Albania after the war was bigger than before the war. But I have to say that not only Albanians, the Jewish communities all over the world. There are very righteous people among nations that did so, and it's very important. And Israel we remember it, and we have a special award that it is called Righteous Among People, that is given to people that helped Jews during the Holocaust.
Madam Ambassador, right in the end, how do you see the relationship between Skopje and Tel Aviv in the future? I mean, the focus right now is the war and the situation, and people here have different opinions, but will there be a prospect of probably opening the embassy here, not being or not viewing the issues from a distance?
I would like very much to be an ambassador situated in Skopje, but unfortunately, Israel cannot open embassies everywhere. I don't think that the relations between our countries is focusing on the war, not at all. There are a lot of other things that we are focusing on. I'm working right now in order to be able to open direct flights between Israel and Skopje, between Tel Aviv and Skopje, that in a way that it will facilitate businessmen to go from one country to another, maybe investments, and also tourism, which is very important to have. You know, we are very close countries geographically, and North Macedonia is a very beautiful country. Also, Israel is a beautiful country, very interesting country, and I think that if we can have more exchange of tourism between our two countries, it will be a big beneficial to the relations of the countries. So
when this can happen?
I cannot promise anything.
Okay. But you're working on that.
Yeah.
Madam Ambassador, Simona Frankel, thank you very much for being part of this program.
Thank you for hosting me.
Të dashur teleshikues, këtu përmbyllim programin për këtë javë në një intervistë të veçantë, delikate, direkte. Programi 200 do të vi sërish javën që vjen. Deri atëherë, mirupafshim.